We're live.
We're live. This is like last time. Oh my god, we're live. Okay, camera's there.
Look at that camera. Okay.
I don't actually know how to see whether there's anyone here. Oh, there's one person maybe.
One person.
Excellent. This time, hello everyone. That's first. If you don't know who we are and why we're here, my name is Erika.
My name's Mike.
And we are sort of the people behind Our Swiss Adventure. It's basically the channel about our Swiss adventure. And hopefully you join here because you know that we have finally hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. Woo woo! And if I was more technically advanced, I think I would have managed to put some fireworks here or something like that. But next time. So I think there's one person, but I'm not sure if it's just showing us or not. So if you're that one person, maybe leave a comment saying like, I'm here. So we're not just talking to ourselves. So
that's what we do most of the time anyway, so it doesn't make much difference.
Yeah, it's basically just the two of us here, plus the camera and the void of it. Until there's two people, yay! Hello to the second person, whoever you are. So, I wanted to respond to that first comment that Lisa has left, saying, I love that picture. Well, the picture from the cover is actually a picture that she took, so thank you, Lisa, for that photo.
Yeah.
I'm here. We have plenty of questions. Excellent. Hello. I don't know if I should pronounce all these names because I feel like I'm going to get things wrong. Okie dokie. Well, maybe some of you will watch this in the recorded version, so I feel like we should just crack on with some questions that we had sent in because some people send them through Instagram, and then there was an email question as well. So maybe we'll start with the email question. Okay, the first question was, I'd like to ask you how you're getting on after your knee operation. So there's a question for me, I think. And the question is from some Nick Smith. Hi, Nick Smith. Thank you for the question. Getting on from the operation, okay, I guess. I think, as my physio says, I'm not exactly on the schedule. I'm slightly behind the schedule. And because the operation that I had, which was the ligament reconstruction surgery, I don't know if it's called like that, basically recreation of my ligament in my knee. That means that it takes a very long time to recover. It takes about 6 months. So it's a very, very long journey, which is a bit difficult, especially when it's summer and you want to be outside doing stuff. But we'll get there eventually. And I thought, there's 4 people. Excellent. Hello, everyone. I thought also to say that this time, because we're using this wonderful platform called StreamYard, not sponsored, that means that if you're feeling very brave, you can actually click on the link that's in the description of this video, just the top line. And if you click on that link, that will give you an option to actually join this live stream and actually speak to us live. Wow. It's basically like a weird Zoom call with people, a bit of a experiment. But if you're feeling brave, you can try to join and we'll connect you up, and then you can say whatever you want to say, ask us a question. Yeah, so there's a few questions in the chat, and maybe we'll answer some of those. So, question 1, what is the best cell mobile service provider?
I'm guessing that means in Switzerland.
In Switzerland, yeah. Not just all around the world.
That's a good question. So we only have experience of one. So we both have SIM cards from Leica Mobile, which is an international provider, not just here in Switzerland. It's all over the world, as far as I'm aware. And we only have a SIM card that you then top up with credit. It's not a monthly plan. And that's mainly because our internet provider is, our internet comes through a mobile router. So we have a small mobile router that has a SIM card in it, and that gives us unlimited data. But it's also got a battery, so it's portable. So if we're both going out together, we can just take this box with us, and we don't need necessarily to have mobile data on our phones. We can use our internet box. So
And we also don't use our phones to call or message that much. So for us, having a top-up card like a makes more sense rather than having a bundle that is like a monthly kind of contract that you pay. Because I think the cheapest one I saw was maybe 25 or 30 francs, but a lots of them are more expensive. So this top-up card is more expensive for us.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
It might work for someone else, might work for you, might not. And in terms of the other providers that are good, so our internet comes from a company called Salt. They also do mobile phone contracts. Our communication, our process with Salt has been fine.
Yeah,
so
maybe they could be good.
Yeah, they might be a good option, and they seem reasonable. Yeah. But there's also one called Sunrise and others. And you can also get a whole bundle if you want your home internet and your mobile phone to be part of the same, which might save you some money. Our friend has that, and I think they pay 70 francs a month or something for their phone and their internet together.
So I suppose, because the question is, what's the best cell mobile service provider? It just depends on what's important to you. Like if you need to have lots of data on your phone and lots of opportunity to just call anyone you want without thinking about every minute of the call, then you might benefit from having a contract, but you just need to look up search for what's best for you, really. Okay, someone saying, it's Manta Semionis. Sounds Lithuanian, if I had to guess. It says, hello guys, good to see you guys. Hello. Okay, should we go with question number 2 from the chat whilst we are at it?
Just the camera.
Whoop.
There we go.
Yep. Oh, now this. Okay, so question number 2. Sorry. Oh, we can actually show questions. Sorry, guys, this is all new to me. Can we do that? 1 second.
There you go.
Yay! Oh, this is so high tech. Look at us. So, question number 2 is: what would you recommend for us to bring from the USA? So it's a long way.
It's a long way to
bring stuff. So maybe only the stuff that's actually really, really important to you.
Yeah.
Because we kind of because we could travel pretty much on the same continent. Well, UK is not on the continent, but we could travel by car. We just decided to bring everything. But to be honest, it might have been a little bit of an overkill. Because when we came here, actually, in reality, they do have IKEA here if this is what you'd like to use for your home stuff. But they also have lots of charity shops, turns out, where you can buy used things. And it depends. I mean,
there are lots of people coming and going in Switzerland. So there's always second-hand furniture, if that's the kind of thing that you're interested in terms of bringing other stuff in terms of, I don't know. I mean, I'd probably bring your clothes.
Yeah.
And any
tech cameras, because you don't want to take lots of photos.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Outdoor wear.
Yeah, I mean that kind of stuff can be quite expensive, but then there's lots of stuff to choose from as well here in Switzerland. I think it kind of depends on how you plan on what your situation is going to be here. Are you moving here to live here? Are you moving here for a year? Do you have somewhere to store stuff back home in the US, or do you have to sell it all? I don't know. We brought everything, essentially, pretty much everything we had, which was a bit of a hassle, but then did make it easier once we moved in, because
we didn't have to buy
flats in Switzerland. They're not furnished, generally not furnished, so you'll have an empty flat you have to furnish yourself. So we didn't bring our furniture. We bought second-hand furniture, but everything else, even our knives and forks and plates and tea towels and all this kind of stuff we brought with us, that was maybe not necessary.
Was either that would sit in your parents' house, or we bring it here and use it. But in terms of the cost of buying things here, furniture you can source secondhand, easy, not going to be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
All the homeware stuff as well, charity shops, all that. People are selling stuff on Facebook a lot. Clothes, I would also say, surprisingly in Switzerland, sometimes if you see shops like H&M and New Yorker and Zara. Actually, the prices are the same as in, say, in UK, although salaries here are higher.
Yeah, clothes are super cheap.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry, it's a bit difficult to answer.
There's a follow-up to the first question.
Okay. Where?
That one.
That one.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Going back to the...
Yeah.
Oh, is it going to show up? Yeah? No? Yeah? Thanks for your help with all the questions. We meant best service coverage for mobile service provider.
That I don't know.
Thanks again. We're planning to move permanently to Switzerland from the USA. I mean, best service.
I think it's pretty uniform.
Yeah. I mean, it's to be honest, uniformly not always great, I would say, because you have so many mountains. So if you like...
Yeah, so that's kind of a contradiction there. If you want to go into the mountains to get away from...
Yeah. But in terms of like, if you get just any mobile service provider, then it should be fine. We haven't had like serious issues with that. So. Okay, so I think we answered the second question kind of about what to bring from USA. Basically, just the most important thing there for you. The rest you can buy if either I was going to call it first hand, but just buy or buy second hand. Okay, moving on to the third question again from the same person. So number 3, what is the best place to look for English-speaking jobs? I have a job secured, but my wife doesn't have a job there yet. So I guess you mean like what sort of like website? Because if you have already a job, you're probably gonna go to a specific place.
As in like he has a job, he or she has a job, but their wife doesn't. So where's the best place to look for a job for their wife? So I think the question is about what websites or what forums or.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm thinking it's not like which city. Because they're going to already be kind of set on the.
I think it means what platform.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean there's
lots of them. Like just jobs.ch is one of them.
Glassdoor, they have job advertisements.
I know that there's some websites, I don't remember the specific names of them, but I think there's some websites that have like English-speaking jobs in Switzerland, for example. Yes. I think if you Google it, you'll be able to find. I feel like I've seen one of those things. Yeah. And also the good way to search as well is like if you know for some specific companies that your wife, I think, could be working in, then you can sort of think of some big international companies that are here and see whether they have jobs, because it tends to be that those work in English, although they're in Switzerland. So it might be easier to find a job like that. And then also I know that sometimes there are some groups on Facebook, for example, for example, English-speaking jobs in, I don't know, Geneva or Zurich or something like that. And you can join that group and then kind of see what's available as well.
They're generally quite well, I don't know, it depends if you're looking for a job in a specific field, because in that case I'd say the best way to approach it is to just look for companies that do that thing. If you just want a job, then these websites might be a better option.
Okie dokie. Maybe we change it up and actually do a question from Instagram. Okay, hold on a sec. I'll just a reminder, if someone's joined when we didn't say this, if you're feeling brave, you can click on the link at the top of the description box and you can actually join us here and chat to us live, but like only if you're feeling brave. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to talking to ourselves and the camera. So let's take a question from Instagram. Okie dokie. So, question is, what is, I think it says, at least one thing do you find nonsense here in Switzerland?
I find nonsense.
I mean, nonsense is kind of a strong phrase, isn't it?
Thing I find nonsense. And there's one kind of trivial thing that we both find nonsense, and that's specifically to here in Neuchatel, is that the fact it is very beautifully, there's lots of gardens, flower beds here in Neuchatel, which are very beautiful, But it seems every month they change the flowers. They dig out all the flowers and throw them away and put new flowers in.
Yeah,
That's a bit nonsense.
Yeah.
Even though it looks nice.
And especially because here they kind of talk about sustainability and how, it's all about saving resources and everything. And then every few months they dig everything up and put the new plants in, and it just seems a little bit.
That's a bit of nonsense. But in terms of anything more serious, I don't know. I don't want to offend anyone, but there's a few things that personally I find nonsense, but I can understand why they exist. Like the healthcare system. Being from the UK with the NHS, I find it somewhat difficult. But then obviously your perspective is going to be different. If you're coming from the US, you probably think it's a good system. So, dentistry, that's a bit of nonsense. Dental insurance. What else? There's not a lot, to be honest. The cost of living, but then...
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's nonsense.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to pick nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
I think is, considering how developed Switzerland is in many things,
Mm-hmm.
just in general, it's a very developed country. I find it a bit nonsense how a lot of the issues are sorted out through letters and you have to fill out forms on paper.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You'd think that they just do everything electronically, or that could be an option. Like, for example, if you I don't know, stereotyping here, but maybe if you're an older person and you want to fill out the form and post it, that's fine. But just give us an option to do it electronically without having to post it afterwards. Because even if you do it electronically, it still at the end says, and now you please print it out and send it in.
And send it to us.
Yeah. And a lot of the stuff is not like connected within different institutions in Switzerland. So you have to inform each person separately via letters, which it seems like is such a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah.
Could be a bit more efficient. I think that's, from my perspective, is a bit nonsense.
Yeah, the difficulties in getting settled can be somewhat nonsensical as well. Like it's a bit circular. You need the permit to get an address, but also you need an address to get a permit.
Yeah,
you need a permit to get a bank account. We can't get a bank account without an address and all this kind of stuff. But that's probably true of many places around the world, not just Switzerland.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we have to say only at least one thing.
Yeah, sorry, we could go on for quite a long time.
Okay, so let's move on with the questions here. Next question is, sorry, if you've like written something further along, we'll get to it. It's just I don't want to miss anything, so I'm just going to go in kind of in the order of the stuff that's been written. Question number 4. Okay, whoops. Sorry, one sec. Can you provide tips on what is the process to get a Swiss social security number?
I think that's the AVS number.
I think the AVS, yeah. I think you just get it
You will
automatically.
get one when you have a permit. When you have a residency permit, you'll get given an AVS number. Yeah.
And that is in order to also, like, when you get your health insurance, it'll be written on your health insurance card.
Yes.
Because initially I didn't know what AVS was, and then I was asked for it at the hospital, and then I realized it's actually on your insurance card.
Yeah. And if it's not on your insurance card, and if you have a job, it's probably on your payslip.
Okay. Next comment was from Mantas saying, "I am Lithuanian. Wow, how did you guess, guys?" Well, actually, I only pretend to sound and be British, but in reality, I'm actually from Latvia. That's why I could tell. Okay, next question. Have you or do you know anyone that has experience with purchasing a used car in Switzerland?
A used car?
Yeah, do you know anyone?
No, I don't know anyone.
No.
I only know people who brought
Their
cars with them.
But
I imagine we could find out. I don't know if people we know, if they bought their cars, if our Swiss friends, if they bought their cars from new or if they bought them second hand.
Yeah, I don't actually know. But I mean, I know I keep saying this, but maybe ask in one of those like expat Facebook groups, because that'll be like a quick way to get an answer. You just search for one in the place where you're going to be moving to. And sorry, we don't have answers to everything.
Yeah, we don't have a car, so.
Yeah, we don't have a car.
But if you're coming from the US, you will need to at some point change your driving license to a Swiss license.
Yeah, you can only keep your license here for
1 year.
Yeah, and then if you drive with that license without having changed it, it's like you are basically don't have a license and you're kind of breaking the law.
A large fine.
Yeah.
But it's not difficult to change your license.
Yeah, and I think US is actually on like a treaty agreement.
It's very easy. You just go sign a form, pay some money, and they'll send your US license back to the US and give you a Swiss one.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Let's move on. That was a comment from the same person saying, thanks for all your help with all your questions. That's already read. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Question from Nick Smith. What's your weather like at the moment? Has there been any flooding locally? So
that's a good question. Lots and lots of rain.
So some flooding, not exactly here, but nearby.
Yeah. So there is a system called Swiss Alert across the whole country, and today I got pinged on my phone saying there's a flood alert for Neuchatel, because in Neuchatel and the surrounding area there are 3 lakes, and they used to flood regularly like 200 years ago, and they've now since then they introduced a canal system that connects the lakes and some sort of sluices, if you like, to control the water levels. And since then it hasn't flooded, but it's getting pretty close at the moment. So I saw some photos today of the lake here in Neuchatel, almost right up to the promenade, where we might normally walk. So the water level is certainly very high, but thankfully there isn't much more rain forecast. But that's not to say there's not water on its way from the mountains already. But yeah, there's not much more rain forecast anymore.
But this year the weather has been completely opposite to last year. Last year, pretty much since like April, we had amazing weather, sunny. Sometimes it was way too hot, but overall it was really sunny, and we thought, hey, Switzerland's amazing, especially having lived in the UK. Yeah. And this year it's been the complete opposite. All spring, all summer pretty much has been just non-stop rain, and lots of thunderstorms as well. Lots of very impressive lightnings, etc. Yeah. So yeah, it hasn't been good for many villages as well. I've seen some sort of damage done around Switzerland as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hopefully it will improve now.
There was some flooding a month or so ago in a small village that's at the bottom of a river that comes down from the mountain in the Jura, and yeah, the road got washed away. Cars got turned upside down. It was
pretty severe.
Pretty intense, actually. Yeah.
Okie dokie. There's one comment saying website for English speakers. I think maybe that was
that's in relation to the
jobs. Yeah. But I think we already talked about that. Then Victor Antofika is asking. Oh wow, it's 15 people. That's crazy. If you've just joined, again, reminder, if you want to join us speaking live, almost like a Zoom call kind of thing, but 15 people are watching us, and you can click on the link in the description just at the top and we'll add you on. You're not going to just suddenly pop up here. I'll still have to add you, so don't worry, don't stress. And also, if you want to support this channel, and only if you want to, there's actually an option on YouTube for you somewhere to click. I think it's like Super Chat. I think that's what it's called. And you can make a small kind of like donation that will be transferred over to the funds of this channel, which I would use for a new laptop or maybe a new camera or something like that, but only if you want to. But I just remembered that was also possible now. Okay, going back to the question from Victor. How difficult is it to get an apartment, 4.5, 5.5 room? Oh, wow, that's a big one. In 1 week, if I arrive on a Saturday in Zurich from the UK, is it realistic? I have a job in Baden, but never been there yet, remote only. We actually met up with someone who has literally just been to Baden, remember?
Yes.
Oh, he was this week. Okay, how difficult? Okay, do we want to be optimistic or realistic?
Yes, so realistically, that will be a challenge unless you happen to, unless you have a large budget, unless money isn't really a question, in which case you can just go for anything that's available, even if it's very expensive. Then that might work. But in terms of, I'm not quite sure if the question is to find and move in 1 week. That would be difficult.
Yeah, I would say that's like
to find and sign off on an apartment, maybe.
Yeah, because we signed up for ours pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly, yes. Yeah, it's hard to say. So in Switzerland and maybe elsewhere in the world, I don't know, but there's generally 2 times of year where rental contracts expire. There's one in the spring and there's one in the autumn. And then if someone wants to move out outside of that time, then they have to find someone to take over their lease. So if someone's very desperate for someone to take over their lease, then you might be very lucky and be able to snap one up quite quickly. But it's going to be a bit of lottery. I don't know what it's like in Baden.
I think it's quite a small place, so it might be not that competitive. Because like basically, the bigger the city, the bigger the city, the more difficult. I was just checking for the person said where exactly they want to live. Yeah. But I think it would be quite difficult. I think it's probably safer instead of like trying to figure something out in a week, maybe try to book an Airbnb or something like that where you can live for a few weeks and maybe a couple of weeks. And in that time of 1 week plus 2 weeks, those 3 weeks, you should be able to find something. If it isn't bad, and if in Zurich, then it might take a while because it's super, super competitive.
Yeah, one other thing to bear in mind is I don't know how the situation works for you, but in order to sign off on a flat, generally the letting agents will want to see a residency permit, and a job contract, and things like this. So if you don't already have your permit, then that might be challenging. They do give you, I don't know what it would be in German, but in French they give you an attestation, like a proof that you've submitted your documents for the permit, and that is in general good enough to do these kind of things. If you can show them that you've at least submitted, then generally it should be okay. But unfortunately, things in Switzerland, the admin can move quite slowly.
Yeah. And also, like, going back again to the fact that they have those sort of moving periods, so like contract periods, that means that people are more likely to actually move out on those, like the end of moving, how do you call it, like contract term, instead of in between. So because I think now it's not the contract end time, it will be a bit difficult to, like, it kind of limits options already, and then you're trying to kind of do it very quickly. That again limits the options. So yeah, I would say just probably do something extra to make sure you have somewhere to live in case you can't find a place. Also you can like arrange viewings before you move. Before you come to Switzerland, you can already look up stuff and call up or maybe email and then arrange to view places, so that like the second day you arrive, you're already there doing it. Kind of to speed up the process.
If you can, to take the pressure off, maybe try and find some temporary accommodation, Airbnb or something. We had ours for 6 weeks, didn't we?
Yes, 6 weeks. But then we didn't.
But then we didn't need all of that. It could have been less.
Yeah. But, okay. I think that there's another comment from the same person saying outside of Zurich, that's where they want to live.
Okay.
And how much is it? Well,
varies hugely.
Varies depending on where outside of Zurich, because outside of Zurich can be quite a big area. But the best place to look up is you can go on comparis.ch, where it has lots of different properties from different websites put together, and you can search for stuff and see how much it is. But the Zurich area would be quite expensive comparing to others, I would say. We know someone who has found a flat kind of halfway down the Zurich Lake, which is kind of the outside of Zurich, and it took them a while, and also they couldn't move in straight away, so they had to find another temporary place. So that's just to give you some indication of how
much they pay for that.
I have no idea.
For an apartment that size, 4.5 to 5 pieces, I would
2,000-3,000
at least 2,000 francs a month.
Oh, probably more,
maybe.
Yeah. It depends on how much outside of Zurich this is.
Yeah, maybe.
But the best way to see is just go on the website and on comparis.ch, or also there are other ones like HomeGate. Is that what we call it? HomeGate. If you look up my video that's called something like how to rent a flat, a house in Switzerland, I explained the whole process there, so you can look it up, and there are all the links there as well.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Okay. There's a comment from Manta saying, You can't flush after 10 p.m. I think that's like a question in Switzerland. Well, you flush the toilet. So you can flush the toilet after 10 p.m. That's like, I think it's like a very old school thinking that you can't, but you definitely shouldn't be loud after 10 o'clock. And sometimes some people say, okay, you shouldn't have a shower after 10 o'clock, because I think it goes back to when the buildings were old, the walls were thin, so you can hear pretty much everything.
Yeah. But it is worth noting, we live on the top floor, so we don't hear anything going from above us. So it could be that actually it's terribly loud to have a shower, and we don't know.
Yeah, but we try not to.
Yeah, so we don't.
And also,
it's
like,
go on.
Sorry, some of these things, like the noise rules, are written into the rules of the house. So, for example, in our house, where we go in, it's an apartment building, but you go in and there's like a notice board, and it has all the different rules of the stuff that we expect it to like obey to. And there's a lot about noise, and specifically also having a shower, not too early and not too late, basically. So,
yeah.
I mean, you basically, when you move to Switzerland, sorry, when you move to Switzerland, whatever rules you see, I think you should follow those rules, like, because you want to, first of all, obviously show respect, and second of all, in Switzerland, all of those rules are not just rules written on paper; they're actually important to people.
Yeah.
So follow the rules.
Yeah.
What were you going to say before? Sorry, I interrupted you like twice.
I can't remember. Yeah, I think I was going to say it's the matter of being polite. You just want to be polite. And also kind of understanding what your neighbours are like. If you hear your neighbours making noise at 10 p.m, then it's probably fine. If you also want to make a bit of noise at 10 p.m, you're just going to kind of play it by ear, see what your building is like.
Yeah. Okay, next one. As Victor saying, up to 3,000, I would say. Yeah, okay. I mean, it could be possible, yeah. I would prefer to live near Zurich. Yeah, that might be a bit difficult. Because, as I said, like, it's just very, very competitive. Because Zurich is like one of the main areas where people move to, because of the, I think, availability of different jobs.
Yeah.
So the people that we know that moved near Zurich, I had a photo sent where basically at the viewing there was a queue on the staircase going up to the flat of maybe 8 or even more people. So yeah, it is quite competitive around there.
One thing worth noting is public transport in Switzerland is excellent. So if you don't end up living right near Zurich, you'll still be able to get there pretty well, even if you're not close.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, next one. Oh no, I think I offended someone. So next one is from Adrian David saying, "What do you mean UK is not on the continent? Come on, just because it's separated by the channel, it doesn't mean it's not on the continental Europe." Well, I didn't want to get it wrong geographically because UK is on an island, but I do think that UK should be feeling like it's part of Europe and being part of Europe. But maybe.
Well, I mean, when we're when we're at home in the UK, people talk about being on the continent.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it is on
continental Europe.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still Europe.
The bit that's all connected, and there's us just separate.
We shouldn't get into too much of a UK Europe talk here.
Yeah.
But okay. And then Matt is saying it's in Asia. Everyone knows it. Okay. So is asking, have you lived in or near Zurich? If yes, which municipality? How did you like it? No, we've always lived in Neuchatel, so we don't really know how it is like. But we know that like
we visited and it's very nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. And I think on the top of if you look at the top of the lake, that area is apparently called the Golden Coast, and that's where everyone wants to live. So maybe, if you're looking to live somewhere around Zurich, maybe choose like at the top of the Lake Zurich. And okay, I will ask a question from Instagram since there's no more comments or no more questions here. So, someone says, congratulations. Thank you. What plans do you have for next year? I suppose that's like for this following year, not like next
Not
year.
for next calendar year. Plans, I don't know if that means like holiday plans or work plans, personal plans, I don't know. So the contract I'm currently on will end, well, the contract I signed will end at the end of this calendar year, but I know that the project I'm working on has funding until next spring. So for the foreseeable future, for that, I'm going to be working here, working on that project. As for what comes after, not really sure. There's potential for me to stay a bit longer in my current job. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
See, really.
It's kind of difficult to make these sort of decisions when it comes to like moving or staying.
Yeah.
Obviously, lots of the stuff depends on job situation as well.
Job situation, and need situation.
Need situation.
This kind of stuff. At some point, maybe within next year, but at some point we're going to get married.
Yeah.
But that's difficult to plan at the moment because there's 3 countries involved. We're in Switzerland, my family's in the UK, Erika's family's in Latvia, so coordinating all of that is difficult at the best of times.
I mean, at the moment, it's so difficult to make any plans, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, when someone asks me, "Oh, what plans do you have?" I'm like, "Oh my god, I've literally no clue."
Yeah.
Because next week stuff might happen that we have no control over.
Yeah.
We had lots of plans for traveling, hiking, and doing stuff, but then I had my skiing accident, so that kind of put things a bit on hold. And now Mike has had his accident because he was so jealous that I'm using all the Swiss healthcare. He thought, I'm going to use it too. Yeah. Do you want to say what happened to you?
So some of you might know, England were in the Euro finals on Sunday against Italy, and a lot of Italians in Neuchatel, and they got overexcited. No, I'm joking. I fell off my bike. I fell off a mountain bike last Sunday, the day of the Euro finals. And slipped on something. I'm not really sure what happened. I can't remember. But I slipped on something, and landed on my right side. And there's a small fracture in one of the bones in my hand, and I have some cuts and scrapes on my shoulder. But it's fine. It will heal. It will get better. So now I have this very attractive brace.
Yeah, DIY Swiss brace.
Yeah.
You just have to spend 8 hours in the hospital, which I thought was a bit crazy, especially on a Sunday night. Yeah, but so difficult to make plans, basically.
Capricorn star.
Capricorn star. Can you recommend a place in Switzerland I can holiday at where I wouldn't need to drive to? I prefer taking the train. I think someone responded here saying anywhere in Switzerland.
Literally anywhere. Yeah, the train network in Switzerland is amazing. It's fantastic. You can, if anything, it would be easier not traveling by car and just going by train. It's expensive, but it works. It really does work.
Yeah, and there's there are buses everywhere as well that will connect you to somewhere the train doesn't go to.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a car here, and most of the time we don't use a car for getting places. Sometimes if we go in with like a big group of people, then it becomes a bit cheaper and easier to just rent a car. So then we rent one. But most of the time we just use trains. And if we had to recommend a place, since that was actually the question, I can holiday at. It depends on what sort of holiday you like. If you like outdoors, if you like exploring small towns, bigger cities, should we just recommend some stuff?
Yeah, I mean, if you like being outdoors and have never been to Switzerland before, then Interlaken is probably a good place to base yourself. You can fly in if you're coming by air, you can fly into Zurich or something and take the train easily to Interlaken, and then Interlaken you have access to loads of great places. Um,
You can go to
Grindelwald,
Lausanne.
and you can, if you want to take the train all the way up to the highest train station in Europe, you can. Jungfraujoch. You can, from Interlaken, you can easily get to Lucerne, which is our
favorite Swiss
our
city.
favorite Swiss city. You can look at the lakes in Interlaken. Interlaken is between two lakes, as the name suggests. Have a look at Thun, which is very beautiful.
You can then, if you fly into Zurich, then you can also spend some time in Zurich. Because it's one of the bigger cities and it's quite nice. So,
then from Interlaken you can get to places like Countesteg and Schönensee and these other big names. I mean there's amazing stuff everywhere in Switzerland. So you really can't go wrong. If you want to do a tour of Switzerland as well, not base yourself in one place, but go around by train, that's also very possible. You can go down, if you want to look at the mountains, you can go down to Lausanne and into Valais and through Valais, and then if you want to head over to Chino, look at Chino.
And also, if you are not from Switzerland, you're just coming here for a holiday, then you can actually get like a rail card. I can't remember how exactly it's called, but I think if you Google something like SBB rail card for tourists, because that gives you, like, you have to pay quite a bit. I think maybe 200 francs or 300 francs for a few weeks. But basically, it gives you a really good price advantage if you're only using public transport to move yourself around Switzerland. So it's worth looking into that. Okay, next question is from Mantas again. It's what do you guys do for a living?
I'm a scientist. I work for a university in a lab.
I don't know if
that's the thing. Last time I gave a full explanation of what I'm doing, and you did this thing where you zoomed in your face looking really bored. So this time I'm going to make it nice and short and just say I'm a scientist.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you do for a living? Well, since moving to Switzerland, I haven't worked. But before that, I was working in food industry, hence why I talk about food quite a lot. I was developing new products for different supermarkets. Yeah. Okay, can't see any new questions, but there was an email question actually about food. So I think we should ask that. So the question was from Francis Smith. Is there one foodstuff or ingredient that you have not been able to find in your location since you arrived in January 2020?
I can think of a few.
Well, there's one that I really wanted to buy for you, and then Co-op discontinued it, which was Marmite.
Marmite. Can't get
UK.
Marmite. It's very, very UK thing, but you can't. Yeah.
There is a foreign aisle in the local supermarket here, but they used to have Marmite, and they have some other British stuff, but they discontinued
it. It was like a pot of Marmite this big for about 10 francs. It's just ridiculous.
Also, another struggle we're having is that, foreign foods are not that common, should I say that? Basically, foreign food is not such a big thing here comparing to UK, where it's all about, like a mixture of different foods from different people that come in and live in UK, etc. So we really struggle to find good hummus here. So we've been on the hunt for good hummus, and they have hummus here, but even the plain hummus doesn't taste the same as the plain hummus in UK. They add vinegar to it for some reason, and then they have lots of different odd variants like lemon hummus or basil hummus. Yeah, hummus is a struggle. Roy, is there anything you thought about? The ingredient of food stuff?
Baking potatoes. I know it's very weird and very specific, but you can't get baking potatoes in Switzerland. They're all too small. Can't get baking potatoes, which I miss.
Okay, I'm not sure.
No.
Okay, Santo K saying, I'll bring it up. Hello, hope you're both well. I live in Cambridge, UK, and moving in Basel And moving to Basel in start of August. What are the things you would suggest I should take here apart from household goods? Well, it depends on how you're gonna get here from Cambridge. Like if you're gonna drive or yeah. But we were saying earlier, maybe because some people joined later on, that actually we found that in Switzerland there's quite a few different second-hand shops. There's also IKEA. People sell stuff. So in terms of stuff for the house, I would say it's quite easy to source it. Obviously, it's less stressful if you kind of bring it with you and it's already here. But it's not that difficult to source. And also clothes actually are not that expensive here. But yeah, any things that you find are essential for you. I would say like bring some food things that you can't get here, but that you can't really bring food over the border into Switzerland. It's not the best thing to do. So yeah, I don't know. From Cambridge. Well, if you're from Cambridge, you can bring us some soup dumplings from the Noodles Plus.
From Noodles Plus.
Let us know if you know what we mean.
Yeah.
But in general, like apart from, I would say, like electronics are quite expensive. But the rest, like you can actually find kind of cheapish ways to source all the different things you might need for living here. And if you like things that are outdoors, bring all your sports gear, like anything you can think of, skis, snowboards, rollerblades, everything like that, because once you get here, you're definitely going to want to use all of those things. Bikes, yeah. And also, that's kind of related to bringing stuff. But if you bring things over here, not just by taking stuff in a suitcase, but by using the actual like customs forms and filling all of that out, they have a section at the bottom that says all the other stuff you might bring later. It's always better to fill that out in case you think there's some stuff that you want to kind of ship over later. Because if you put that on the form, you're not going to have to pay any tax for bringing that stuff in. Whereas if you don't, you might get trapped in this hole over bringing things over tax thing where they're going to tax you loads for the stuff that you already own and use. And just don't get, I don't know how to say this. Don't get sort of trapped in that. Okay.
Lisa Coulson says she likes the lemon stuff from Co-op.
No.
We're going to have to disagree on that one. Sorry.
Okay, well, I'm reading this other comment. Everyone's great, but I had to choose everyone to live. There's someone responding about best areas to live near Zurich. So, please read the comment. So yeah, Lisa Collins says, let's bring this up. We need to discuss this.
Yeah, this needs to be...
Okay, well, first of all, hi Lisa. Thanks for joining. I like the Co-op lemon hummus, but yeah, the hummus is not exactly great in Switzerland. Yeah, the lemon hummus, if we had to dwell on this for a little bit, it just tastes like lemon meringue flavor and hummus, which for me are the two things that I can't really combine.
But you know,
everyone's got different
everyone likes different things.
Yeah. But I think we should just start some sort of a expat run hummus company here. I think we're gonna make loads of money. Yeah, lots of money. Okay. Okay, moving on. Okay, we have another comment from Mimo saying, have you ever been to Lausanne? And if yes, what did you like about it? So,
have been to Lausanne, yes.
You haven't been before, right?
I've been a few times for work.
Yeah, but not
to actual centre of Lausanne.
But I mean, to see Lausanne, we've been
once,
yes. The weather wasn't exactly great, which I think always kind of changes things a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it was okay, but it's not my favorite place in Switzerland. I know many people really like it, but I struggle to understand where is like the center of Lausanne and like where do you go and what do you do is a bit confusing to me, at least.
Yeah, I understand that. Like I get the impression that it was once quite a nice small little town, and it's now just grown. So there's a very small centre, but it carries on for a long time. There's lots of suburbs and places like that. But I imagine once you get into those, they're nice. There's places to
and it's a beautiful setting because like
the scenery is stunning, absolutely amazing. The view across the lake is just unbelievable. Really super nice. Super nice.
And there's also, because it's a bigger city that has more like different cafes and shops and restaurants, more sort of interesting stuff to do, I think, comparing to say Neuchatel, which is quite small. Okay. So Santa's saying, thanks, I'm moving as part of my employer package. Soup dumplings, sure. You're always welcome for dinner once I settle in. Oh, excellent. Thank you. Also asks, are electronic items, phones, television, cheaper in Switzerland comparing to UK?
Relatively, yes, or the same. Then
they're kind of like same price, I would say, but that makes it cheaper because you
earn more. Yeah. So technology in general is relatively good value. Here, I'd say.
It's a bit bizarre, isn't it? How some stuff is like kind of similar price to UK, but some stuff is more expensive. Like buying food in the supermarkets is a lot more expensive. Then you have other factors that add in, like your health insurance is really expensive, and then you have higher rent price as well. But then some stuff is actually very similar. So it's I just find it a bit bizarre how it is like that.
Tech stuff is not that expensive.
Not that expensive, yeah.
So
and as we said before, like people always sell stuff, and quite often they actually sell quite like stuff that's in good condition because they just want the newer model of laptop or phone or something like that. So so the question is, has it been a challenge living here or there, sorry, I can't read, without owning a car? We're thinking of renting a car in the beginning to run errands and look at apartments, or is it doable just by train, public transport? Well,
so to answer the first bit, challenge living here without a car? No, not a challenge. The only difficulty has been moving.
Yes, like because we bought all our furniture secondhand from all around Neuchatel, so that involved collecting all that stuff. And for that, we did rent a van for 24 hours, which was a crazy challenge.
Yeah.
But if you like order furniture from IKEA or something like that, then you can totally do it without having a car. It's obviously like it's always easier when you have a car and you can hop in, go wherever. But actually, I feel like here in Switzerland, it's easier without having one than it would have been in UK, for example.
For sure.
We can get everywhere pretty much by public transport. And if we did at some point need a car, we would either rent it or we ask one of our friends to help us out with some small thing that we need to see or something like that. But it's been really rare that we really thought, it'd be nice to have a car.
I mean, for our situation, where we live, the flat we have, the money we earn, it will be more of a challenge to have a car than not to have a car. But if you live somewhere where you can easily park a car and you can afford to put fuel in your car and whatnot, then maybe it's nice to have the option, but it's certainly not necessary.
Yeah.
And maybe it matters a little bit on where you end up living, but if you're going to be near a big city, because for us, when we moved here, we knew we were going to come to Neuchatel and we were going to find a place to live in Neuchatel. But let's say if you're going to Zurich, but you might end up anywhere in the surrounding towns, and maybe, but even then the transport is pretty good. Unless you're going to live on top of a mountain, then you can rely on public transport.
Yeah. So moving on to there was a response to someone's question about Lausanne from Adrian saying it's very cosmopolitan.
Cosmopolitan is what I'd say.
Yeah. It's called the smallest big city in the world. To give you an idea, it has a subway and it has only about 120,000 people. It has everything.
Yeah.
It's actually quite funny how they have subway, because I think they have subway just to have a subway. It doesn't even go that deep, and it has like 7 stops or something like that. I mean, it's still cool that they have it.
Yeah.
I saw it. There was like a questionnaire somewhere, like which city is the only one in Switzerland to have subway, and I was like, oh, it's Lausanne. We've been on there. It is cosmopolitan. Like if cosmopolitan is like having lots of different people from different countries.
Yes.
I would say Lausanne, Geneva, Zurich.
Yeah.
The most like
Lausanne more so maybe because of the university.
Oh yeah, true. But then also Zurich has lots of people
ETH.
working there, and then ETH is the university. Okay. There was one more question from Instagram, which I didn't quite fully understand, but I thought maybe we'll have a go. Anyway.
Okay, try and figure it out.
So the question was, what about life in Geneva specifically? Well, the thing is, we live in Neuchatel and not in Geneva. Obviously, Geneva is much bigger city, so I think life could be a bit more interesting in terms of stuff to do in the city. We recently just visited Geneva, actually. Don't know if you want to say our impressions about it. I mean, the weather, the weather wasn't great.
The weather wasn't great, so we
had to hide a lot of the time.
But I don't know, I mean, Geneva is nice. It feels very much like any other European city. There's not really anything that defines it as being Swiss. I don't know if I can necessarily say a city is Swiss, but it's perfectly nice. The old town's very pretty. It's got lots of shops in the commercial sort of area. It's got a really big water fountain. It's nice. Yeah, it's nice. It's maybe not in quite the same amazing setting as Lausanne.
Lausanne, true, because it's like on the other side of the lake, so the view is not.
Or Zurich, for that matter.
Yeah. I think it's a bit of a shame how it's close to France, so then you can go to France easily, but like it's literally in the corner of Switzerland. So for you to get to the eastern part of Switzerland, it would just take a bit long to get to places. But I mean, it's fine. I think for any place in Switzerland, if someone asks me like, "Oh, how's this? Like, is it nice to live?" I think it's always best to try to go visit and see, because for some reason, there's some places that we visited and we thought, okay, well, it's nice, but not for us. And some we have been to, and for some reason, we're like, oh my God, we love it. We could live here, like if we weren't living in Neuchatel.
Yeah.
So, it's all kind of about what personally you want and what you like. Okie dokie. So, someone say, oh, hey, it's Ushka from Slovenia Go Abroad, saying that they have a car, but they only use it on the weekends to go on trips and grocery shopping. We could easily live without it. To be honest, it's a luxury. Yeah, I mean, but I think also like if you have a child, it makes it a bit easier to go with the car, because you tend to kind of carry lots of stuff around with you. But if you're just a couple of 2 people, then it might be a bit of an overkill. Yeah, some people are saying agree. Someone's saying congratulations. Thank you. Hello, maybe recommend any easy hikes for beginners. I actually thought about this. Like, do you think it would be a good video idea to make just a compilation of some easy hikes? But obviously, like, we can only compile hikes that we have done. Otherwise, it's like you can't really recommend something you haven't done. But just like easy hikes for like beginner hikers in Switzerland. I don't know. Do you think that'd be interesting? But to answer this question, any easy hikes for beginners? Well, obviously it depends on where.
Really depends where.
Because if you're doing an easy hike, it's probably going to be not too long. And for that, you don't want to have to travel for a long time. Like, you don't want to commute somewhere for 2 hours to do a hike for 1 hour, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
But I would recommend, like, wherever you are, to try to search for some hikes on, for example, Swiss Mobility or Commute locally, because then that means that you can do an interesting hike, which there are lots around any place, and it's not going to be too far from you, and there should be some easy ones as well. I mean,
it really matters where you are. If you use Commute, that tells you how difficult it is. They give a ranking for these different walks. If it's going to be easy or intermediate or difficult or expert, that'll give you a good idea. If you go on Switzerland Mobility, they have a map of all the marked trails across the country. Some of them are sort of pre-made into a circular route or point-to-point route, and you can look at the details, and it will show you how far it is, how long it will take you, how much elevation and descent there is in each walk, and it's up to you to kind of gauge what you think you'll be able to do. But there are easy hikes to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's one that, like, for example, if you go to Grindelwald, you can go up to First, which is what's it called, a station?
Yeah, it's a station on the
cable
on the lift.
Cable car.
Cable car.
Yeah. It's called First, and then from there you can hike to a lake, which I forgot the name of.
Is it
Bashalpse, maybe? Yeah, but it's only like 15 minutes there, and then 15 minutes back, and it's all fairly flat, so it's quite easy.
And the views are spectacular.
Yeah, the views are spectacular like the whole time, so that's quite a nice one to do.
There's also the one down in Lauterbrunnen Valley. You just walk along essentially a road on the bottom of Lauterbrunnen Valley. That's very nice.
Yeah, it's super flat as well, so it's super easy.
Yeah.
Then there's one where we went to an area called Glarus, which has a lake called Clontalersi.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to get this wrong. But there is literally a road that goes on the side of the lake, and you can walk on it, and that makes a really nice hike as well.
Yeah.
Like quite often, I think by the lakes you can have some nice.
Yeah. If you don't want to go up and down, then head to a lake.
Sorry, it's a bit difficult to like recommend if you don't really know.
But if you know where you want to go, let us know.
Like if you at any point
send some ideas.
Yeah, some recommendations. You can always get in touch by email, Instagram, and just on YouTube comments. So yeah. Okie dokie. Oh, Sandra's saying, thanks a lot. This is super helpful. Wait, no, it's moving. So I'm looking forward to moving to Basel. Last question, would I be able to survive without not knowing a word of German in Basel? So Basel is an interesting place because it's like between, I'm going to get this wrong. 2 countries? 3 countries?
3 countries.
3 countries, yeah. So I think it'll be quite international.
Yeah.
But I think there's also quite a lot of foreigners moving to Basel, so I think it'll be easy to kind of communicate with local authorities and any other stuff like that in English. I think it's a bit more difficult in places like Neuchatel, for example, where we are, where it's all kind of in French and it's a bit difficult to find people that speak English. But I think in Basel it'll be easier. But we'd still recommend, as soon as you move here, to start doing some language classes, because it will definitely make it easier if you can understand. Start learning some German, and also shows respect to people around you. But I think you'll survive. We have people that we know that moved here without literally speaking no French at all, and still somehow they're surviving. So
it's not a problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know what circumstances. I think this is the person that says that they're moving with their work relocation, but you might want to investigate if your employer will fund some language lessons.
Yeah, because quite often they actually do that. They want you to sort of integrate.
It's well worth it because you get a good discount, and it's just nice to it's nice to be able to at least make an effort.
Yeah,
and it definitely lubricates the conversation, even if you end up speaking most of it in English.
Yeah,
if you can start with some German, that would help.
Right. Sorry, I'm just gonna read some of these things. Okay. Someone's talking about being careful with renting. If you plan renting more than 3-4 times, it might be more economical to just buy a car. I think 3-4 times. We've done it 3-4 times, and I think it's still. Yeah. I
mean, it really depends on the situation. Like for us, buying a car is not feasible because we've got to put it But it depends on your situation. So.
But Ian has done a video about owning a car in Switzerland, and I think that might have some helpful information for you if you want to look it up. Yeah. Okay. Good. So thanks. Just got the app. Not sure. That's for hikes. So Commute. Yeah. If you there's actually a link to our Commute account. I think that's what it's called in the description of this live stream or any video, so you can add us to see maybe there's something that we have done as a hike that you'd like to repeat.
Yeah. But just send us a message.
Yeah. Manta's saying, have a nice evening. Have a nice evening. You too. Okay. There's a question from Flo Trey. I'm non-EU and thinking of applying to graduate school in Switzerland. Do you have any recommendations to help me prep? I'd love to work there in a few years after I graduate to social researcher. Applying to graduate school. Graduate school, is that like university, I presume?
Yeah. Well, it'd be like,
Ooh.
It really depends. I mean, I can't offer any advice because I don't know what's kind of subject, what institution. Even if I didn't know, I wouldn't be able to give advice. But I don't think the fact that it's in Switzerland makes any difference about that application. I think, they're nothing. They're not going to be looking. A Swiss recruiter for the grad school is not going to be looking for any different than an American one, an English one, a German one. I don't think it makes any difference that it's in Switzerland.
But I think it's a very good decision to actually study in Switzerland and then try to find a job here, because companies that hire people in Switzerland prefer for you to have a Swiss diploma, even if they don't maybe openly always say that. So it's always much, much better to have at least some sort of course or some education here in Switzerland if you're trying to get a job in Switzerland.
Yeah, agreed.
So it's a really, really good decision to do that.
Agreed.
Okie dokie. Especially if you're not from EU, that will help a lot as well. Okie dokie.
Just a point on that. If you plan on living here long term and want to get a C permit and residency, the time spent studying often won't count towards the mandatory 10 years. Just a heads up.
That's like a very long term
thinking. Term, but if you think, just in case you weren't aware.
Okay. Someone's saying about apartments. Many apartments charging for parking per month. It's from about 130 francs per month. Yeah, that sounds about right. Plus fuel, plus pollution. And then you need to find an apartment with parking. Yes, it's true. Like for us, for example, I had a car in UK, and then we decided we're not going to bring it over here, and I sold it. And when we came here, we specifically looked. We didn't look for apartments with parking because we didn't need parking, and that opened a lot more options to be closer to the city and have a flat, because sometimes some apartments don't have any parking on offer at all. For example, our building doesn't have any, so it's just parking on the street, which is basically like one big competition every evening. So it just gives you more options as well for apartments. And it's true, so I think I've seen some apartments where the parking was 150, 200 per month, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Santo's saying, thanks a lot, guys. You're welcome. Yeah, employees offering 50 German classes. Oh, excellent. That's good. Do you miss anything about UK?
About the country, obviously I miss the people, but about the country, I miss how easy things felt, but that's not a fault of Switzerland, not a fault of the UK, because I grew up in the UK. So obviously you kind of know the system, you know everything, you speak language and that kind of stuff. And, I miss things being cheap.
We miss the NHS.
The NHS, definitely.
I mean, for me, I miss because I was in UK for 7 years before coming here. You get to know how things work, and because my English is quite good, like it's quite easy to understand everything what's going on, etc. Here, although like our French is quite good, it still doesn't make us feel. This just doesn't make us feel as sort of like we understand everything and that people understand us, and kind of
That's part of the adventure a little bit.
Yeah.
There's not a huge amount I miss about the UK, to be honest, because Switzerland's got amazing scenery.
Yeah.
I think if the scenery here were the same as it were in the UK, I'd be seriously questioning if I want to spend any more time here.
Yeah.
Because there's not much difference in terms of work culture, at least in my field. I don't really feel much difference there. It's not like, oh, it's so much more relaxed here, so much more holiday or anything like that. It's the same. And the general culture feels kind of similar. I don't really feel there's too much of a culture shock.
Yeah.
It's not like we've gone to southern Spain or somewhere in Italy where there's siesta, everything stops working for 2-3 hours in the middle of the day.
Have long lunch times, so.
Yeah, but I mean, it's more similar to the UK than
like if we would move to like Japan or something like that.
Yeah, so there's not much that you would feel out of place. There's not much that would cause you to feel out of place with respect to the UK. I'm trying to think what else I miss in the UK.
I mean, I just feel I don't want to like take this on a very sad topic, but I just feel that. I miss the being kind of like integrated into the society, because I don't know, I just didn't really feel too out of place, even though I was foreign in the UK. I kind of felt like I was perceived as just one of everyone. I feel like here you feel a little bit more kind of distance from.
That's true, and that's hard to avoid when you have to like apply for a piece of paper that allows you to live here. And your piece of paper tells you can't work, this kind of stuff. Whereas, you came in as a student into the UK, but like once you're in. Like there was basically
before,
like you're the only. You can't vote, but other than that,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, it's not too different, but at the same time, it is a bit different, and it's a bit hard to say. Okay, question from Sweden Go Abroad. How is the current flooding situation in Neuchatel? I hope it's not too bad. So at the moment in Neuchatel, the lake levels are steadily rising.
It's very high.
But we're not flooded yet.
Yeah, we have like a level 4 or level 5 alert. I think it's level 4.
We've had some flooding in the nearby villages where they have a river, so mountain river, running next to them, and then it flooded quite badly.
Yeah.
But nothing's like very bad here in Neuchatel city. I don't know how it is in the Lausanne area. Let us know. There's a question from Flo Trey. If I hope to work in Switzerland, but only know English and Spanish, how much will knowing one of regional languages help me? I'm trying to learn French right now, but it's difficult. Okay, so knowing local language is a huge bonus.
It's a huge bonus.
Because there are some jobs that don't require you to know like French or German or Italian.
Like mine?
Yes, like Mike's. Or if you work in a research institute, or if you work in a big international company, like pharma companies or food companies, or maybe IT stuff, then you can just get by with just knowing English. But most of the jobs, when you look at the requirements, it will say French, German, or one of those languages.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that, you don't need it, but in reality, it's quite difficult to find a job that will not require any of those. So it's always good to learn one of the languages. So yeah, French, go for it. It's difficult, but knowing Spanish, I think, will help you to learn French.
Yeah. I'm just reading what this guy's. So Miss Mary Poppins. No. Do I miss the rain? Well, we have enough rain here.
Yes,
Actually.
plenty.
Plus, where we live in the UK, it's actually very dry.
Yeah, I think Cambridge. Well, comparing
to the rest of the UK, it's very dry.
Yeah. There was another question from Francis Smith about Swiss chocolate versus UK chocolate, taste and cost. Ooh, we actually tried quite a lot of different Swiss chocolates. At some point, we went through some sort of craze where we're just buying a different one every time.
Yeah.
And it feels like because you're in Switzerland, you just have an excuse to eat loads of it.
Yeah.
And not feel guilty about it.
I've got a controversial opinion. I think Swiss chocolate's overrated.
I mean, you can buy Swiss chocolate in other countries, so I don't understand what's the big deal.
Yeah.
But taste-wise, I mean...
Tastes fine, but then chocolate in the UK tastes fine. Cadbury's taste nice.
Yeah.
Green and black taste nice.
Yeah. And Galaxy, I like a Galaxy.
Yeah.
But we have some nice chocolates here. I like the Villars. I don't know how to pronounce it actually correctly. Villars.
Villars. It's French.
Villars. Chocolate. I love Lindt. Lindt balls are excellent. But you can buy them elsewhere, so I don't really think that cost-wise, I mean, chocolate, especially if it's like a small local brand, it'll be fairly expensive for a bar of chocolate.
Yeah.
But then, as we said, any groceries here are expensive. Even if it's the exact same stuff that you buy over the border, it will just be more expensive here.
Yeah.
Someone says Ledra is our favorite. Yes, so actually when Mike came here for an interview and then he was coming back, he decided to spend all his pocket money. He bought a little bag of Ledra squares and it was the best chocolate I think I've tried.
Yeah, it was good.
It was amazing.
It's good.
And just when you go past the shop and they have those massive bars with like nuts in them and all sorts of stuff and then they break them up. Yeah, it's incredible until you get the receipt for you get asked how much to pay at the till. So, someone says maybe a week in September in Interlaken. How's the weather that time? Depends on September.
In September, you'd have a reasonable chance of getting good weather.
Yeah.
We went on holiday last year around Switzerland in September, and we only had
some rain.
Maybe 1 or 2 days of rain, but it was generally pretty good. But then this year's weather is all over the place.
Yeah, so it might get much better, and then it may be that September is amazing, but just have to watch out. It's a bit difficult like that actually with traveling around Switzerland because if a lot of your activities are based around seeing nature, then you're just so reliant on the weather, and because you have mountains, the weather changes so much.
Yeah,
it's
and
a bit difficult.
Often it's not the case of we can still go and we can still do it in the rain because quite often the weather's it becomes dangerous to try and do these same things in bad weather. So.
But there is nice weather in September and October as well. It just depends on how.
Yeah, it's a bit of a lottery, unfortunately.
Try Lindt Intense Mint. I actually don't like mint and chocolate. I don't know. What do you think about mint and chocolate?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Not bad? Yeah. Okay. I mean, I never knew that was a thing until I moved to the UK and then discovered that was a thing. And I said, why is this a thing? I think it's up to everyone's taste buds. So, I think these were all of the questions. I don't know if anyone has any more questions, if we hang around here for a little bit. If anyone wants to join on this live stream and join on the screen, then click the link at the top of the description box. But, I mean, if there's no more questions, then we're not going to bore you anymore. But there's 12 people, so I'm thinking they're here for something, right? So maybe. But
maybe they wanted to hear all the answers now.
And then they're like, I'm done.
Now they have closure. Yes.
Yeah. But yes, if you have any more questions, please do ask us now, because if there aren't any, then we're not going to bore you anymore.
Yeah, but if you do have more questions, then still send them in and maybe it'll be a topic of a future video.
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, one more just came in.
From Bianca Caravan. What is the biggest... Oh, hold on. what is the biggest change in your life after moving to Switzerland? Coronavirus.
Coronavirus. yeah. But
We moved and then the coronavirus happened pretty much straight away.
That's not because of Switzerland.
No. We have become, I think, much more like outdoorsy people. Like you were already outdoorsy person, but I think a lot of our activities have shifted.
Maybe out of necessity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of coronavirus and because there's not a huge amount of stuff to do in Neuchatel.
Yeah, true.
The way to entertain yourself is to go outside.
In nature.
What else has changed? I don't know if I should admit this, but I've become I think a lot more about money than I did before. I don't enjoy it, but I think more about money than I did before.
I mean, I've started this YouTube channel, and now we have 12 people watching us on the internet.
That's quite significant.
And 1,000 people subscribing. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. What else? We have, I think, kind of mastered all of this like bureaucracy of moving to a different country. Like I feel, when you're kind of like leveling up in adult life.
Yeah, I feel like
because we had to sort out so many different things here.
Should we need to move to a different country again, I feel much more prepared.
Yeah. But
the biggest change in my life.
Biggest change.
Oh, getting engaged. That was a pretty big change.
And it's definitely. I don't want to say like life changing, but I mean moving to a different country. It will always kind of turn, like, I don't want to say these things because it sounds very cliche and very dramatic, but it does turn your life kind of upside down, because you basically just take everything you have and then move to a completely different country where you don't know anyone initially, and you just start doing things maybe slightly differently, and it definitely shapes you. Like any country you move to, it will shape you, and I think it shapes you into a better person at the end.
Definitely an impression, yeah.
Okay, someone says, that's good. Maybe a video in the future about what gear you have to wear on hikes, shoes, etc. That was also my video idea. I have loads of ideas, but not all of them come to life. Yeah, I might make a video about some gear that we have, and also stuff for beginners, like if you're just starting to enjoy the outdoors, hike, whatever. Yeah. What is the minimal amount of stuff that you need? Because you don't actually need that much.
Yeah. But I'm not sure if you really want to take advice from someone with a broken hand or someone with a broken knee.
But that's about hikes. We didn't break bits.
That's a good
hikes.
point. That's a good point. Yeah.
It's a message from Yan PB Test. More about money in what way? Not just the usual stuff is expensive, right?
More about in terms of just making sure we have enough money to do different things. Yeah, I'm just kind of more conscious of what money's coming in and what money's going out, basically. More so than I was when we were in Cambridge, I'd say.
Yeah. Sando's saying, I have heard Swiss authorities are really bureaucratic and slow. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. I would say that slow is not always
the case.
Yeah, sometimes
it
happens quickly.
There are lots of forms to fill and this kind of stuff.
And it's a lot of it is kind of that they don't want to even hear. They don't want to hear from you unless you actually filled out that form that they need. You might say to them exactly the same thing, but it's like, no, we need the form. We need to have it posted, have it signed, everything.
Yeah.
So it's very true. So and then you kind of become like a bit of a form expert, how to fill things out, and you have a nice folder where you file all of your forms.
Yeah.
And
I mean, perhaps you shouldn't anyway, but you don't expect any particular authority to think that your case is special or different. Like they don't necessarily treat things on a case by case basis. Sometimes they do, but it's like if you haven't got that form for whatever reason, the answer is no.
Yeah.
Even if you think you have a valid reason to not be able to produce something or whatever, if you can't, then you can't. Like it's very strict in that sense, and that there are rules, and if you don't meet these rules, you don't fit the criteria, then it doesn't matter what your excuse is. That's it.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. It can be somewhat frustrating, but then the same rules for everyone. So
kind of goes back to the latest video from last week where I said like, yeah, if something doesn't quite work out or they say no to you here in Switzerland, don't take it very personal, because they just look at you as like, okay, this is not like, I don't know, Erika or Mike. This is just like a person that has not filled that out or has not done that. It's nothing about like you personally. It's just like the system just works in a bit more unpersonal way, I'd say. It says, oh gee, I'm so disorganized. I really struggle in terms of folder. Then get the folder beforehand. Like don't collect lots of forms and then be like, oh, I need to sort it out.
Don't wait until you've got a pile of forms and then think, oh, I need to organise these.
Yeah.
You need to be on it from the start.
Yeah.
You should see the size of our
folder. We need to start a new folder because there's no more space
Yeah.
in the last year's folder or this year's folder.
Yeah.
Because you'll get lots of different things sent by post as well that you're going to have to keep. Like, don't bin anything here in Switzerland, actually, when it comes to forms or documents, because there will come time when you will need it and you'll be like, where's that form? And you'll be like, okay, it's in the folder. Okay, thanks. So, yeah. So,
yeah, I think we might have to wrap it up there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna check that we don't have any more.
No more questions.
Let me just check on my phone. Maybe you can entertain people.
Entertain people.
With something.
I don't have any funny anecdotes. Go on.
Any funny Swiss stories?
Funny Swiss stories. No.
No.
Nothing.
It's like, help! Words!
Yeah.
No, I don't think I have any more.
No, that's it.
More messages. Well, it's 21:27 in Switzerland. Oh, good to know about the need to keep the forms. Yes, keep the forms. And keep them in color-coded folder. No, just a folder with some sort of organization. Santos says, have a nice evening. Soup dumplings in Basel. Plan is on then. Take care and stay safe. Thank you. Excellent. We have actually sourced some soup dumplings here in Switzerland. But more on that later. In the next video. Okie dokie. Well, I think that will be it. We've been here for 1 hour and 27 minutes, which I think is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for everyone joining in. I'm going to look at the camera now.
Yeah.
Thanks for everyone joining in. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for subscribing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, hope you enjoy watching next videos that will come out. And if at any point you have any suggestions for some videos that you'd like to see, make sure you just drop a comment or drop a message and I'll make a video, because that always helps to know that there's a specific topic you would like to hear about. I don't know if you want to say anything?
No, just thank you.
Audience.
Just thank you for subscribing. It really means a lot.
Yeah. And have a nice weekend. Hopefully there'll be no flooding wherever you are, and the weather will become much nicer going forward. What do you think? Oh no, there's a question. What do you think about current situation due to COVID in the world? It's not great.
Not great.
It's not great. Hopefully it will improve, but I don't think it's ever gonna go away if we had to be honest.
Just have to live with it.
Yep. Okie dokie, and on that positive note, we're gonna sign out and have a nice evening.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.